Continuing our research paper series, now we're going to talk about note-taking for a research paper. So, research paper note-taking strategies. It's very, very important to keep your notes organized. We talked about plagiarism and how sloppy notes can lead to unintentional plagiarism. It can also lead to a great deal of stress at the end of the process if you haven't kept your notes organized well. And one thing you make sure you do is put page numbers and source information on all your notes. So if you need to refer back to a book, you have the page number available. If you need to refer back to a website, you have the website available, and that sort of information. You need to summarize or paraphrase into your own words. So if you summarize it directly or paraphrase it directly out of the source into your own words, and then you write it into your paper using your own words, it makes sure it is a way to assure that you don't unintentionally plagiarize. It is a way to make it your own work and to make it very much your product. Make sure you understand the material when you're taking notes on it. Some people tend to write things down that seem important to them, but they don't necessarily understand it, and it's going to cause you much grief later if you don't understand it. So make sure as you're writing it down that you understand it, and you look up any terms you need to understand, or you ask questions before you put that information into your notes to cause clutter. If you're going to use direct quotations, they should be used sparingly and only in special cases. Mainly you use direct quotations when, say, an expert says something that you don't feel can be reworded with the same effect that they said it. So use direct quotations sparingly and only in small cases. Don't copy and paste. With the internet availability to all of us and computer options, some people like to just copy and paste and not discern their information. You should go over that information, summarize it in your own words. Do not copy and paste. Do not get in that habit, because it leads to sloppy notes. It leads to either intentional or unintentional plagiarism. So don't get in the habit of copy and paste. You should devote one note card, and I say that in quotation marks because we're doing digital note cards, but you should devote one digital note card to each idea or source. If you try to keep a running list of ideas, say in a Word document or something like that, you're going to get everything convoluted and have difficulty sorting it at the end. So get in the habit of devoting one note card to each idea or source. If you think it might be important, make a note of it. You can always leave it out if you decide later you don't need it, but it's much harder to go back and find it if you do need it. So if you think it might be of use to you when you're writing your research paper, make some sort of note of it. You should avoid using abbreviations unless you can easily recall what they mean. Some abbreviations that you guys know that are common are fine, but if you try to use abbreviations just to speed up writing things while you're actually typing, to speed up typing things, and then you go back and you can't remember what it is that it meant, that can cause you lots of confusion at the end of the process. And label your notes intelligently. Make sure they have a title, so you can easily sort through them and find, based on the title, narrow down what information you need. So don't just say source 1 as your title, because if you don't know what the source is, it doesn't lead you to find what you need. So, the digital note card options. I highly recommend Evernote as an option, and I'm going to do a video here on how to use Evernote. If you don't want to use Evernote, or you don't want to create an Evernote account, you can use Google Presentation or PowerPoint if you're so inclined to use that ancient technology. Helpful additions that could be used. Digo is a social bookmarking website. It wouldn't be used for your note cards, but it would help you organize websites if you're looking at a lot of different websites. So that's something you might want to look into. Or Blogger. Some people could use a blog to record information that they find every day, so that when they want to find it again, they can kind of retrace their path using their blog. Those are just two ideas that could be helpful. Don't need to use them because of the size of your paper. You won't necessarily have trouble tracing back sources, or you won't necessarily have a huge collection of websites. But if you want to learn how to use Digo or Blogger with your research paper, it's a good opportunity to try it. But we will be using Evernote or Google Presentation. Not an option is using Google Docs or Microsoft Word. And that's because, as I mentioned before, I don't want a running list of all your information congealed together into one document. So watch the note-taking video using Evernote and Google Presentation, and you'll get an idea of what I'm looking for. Those of you who did the no paper research paper last year have an understanding, but should still watch the videos to clarify. So those are your options as far as digital note cards. So that's your video on note taking. Your next video will be on how to use Evernote or Google Presentation to actually make those notes. So good luck.